Hey everyone, welcome back once again to our YouTube channel. I'm Manjeet Rawat, your online instructor. Recently, we started a series for Microsoft Azure Administrator, and I think we have already covered up to 12 classes. In previous class, we discussed about how we can manage the Azure File Share Service. Now, I'm going to move ourselves to next topic, and next topic is correlated to Azure File Sync Service. As an administrator, it's our responsibility. We should know about the usage of Azure File Sync Service, because with the help of Azure File Sync Service, we are able to manage and synchronize on-premises file server to Azure storage services. Most of organizations prefer to establish file sync service to make a communication between on-premises storage that you establish to store the data for local clients. Think about if any issues occurred with our on-premises file server, so it means that we will lose the entire data of our clients, right? To protect our data, Azure File Sync Service can help us, because in this case, we will create a live replica between on-premises storage, on-premises file server to Azure storage account. So if we talk about previous session, so we successfully configured the Azure File Share Service, but the File Share Service can help us to just map the space from Azure File Share to on-premises or maybe a virtual machines, right? But if we talk about File Sync, it's totally different from File Share, because the File Sync can help us to synchronize with existing storage, then existing storage share the space to our available clients. This is our agenda, and I'll try to give you the complete information like as a concept, usage, means use cases, and about the issues or prerequisites as well. So let's move ourselves to our desktop screen and discuss about the prerequisite and try to understand about the structure, how file share service can help us, and then we'll show you the proper practical how to implement the Azure File Sync Service using on-premises resources, right? But before that, if you're new on my YouTube channel, if you're watching my video first time, so do subscribe, because I'm planning to give you core content based on cloud technology, not only for the Azure, not only for the Amazon. I'm planning to give you a unique and core practical based series based on Google Cloud and Microsoft Intune and Office 365 as well. So do subscribe your Teach Me Cloud YouTube channel. Okay everyone, so let's move ourselves to our desktop screen and discuss about the concept of Azure File Sync Service, and after that we'll try to implement the file sync service on our on-premises server. So let's move ourselves to our desktop screen. Now we are on page of our desktop screen. Let me explain you about the concept of Azure File Sync Service, and after that we'll show you the procedure and we'll discuss about the prerequisites as well. So think about, this is our Azure storage, and as we discussed about, Azure storage account contain 4 different types of storage services: file share, container, table, and queues, correct? So what we need to do, the first step, you must need to create a storage account, and after that select Azure File Share, the Azure File Share service which is available in our storage account. Just need to create one Azure File Share. The work of Azure File Share we have already discussed in our previous class, like by using the Azure File Share service we are able to map our file share to on-premises virtual machine or on-premises physical machine or any VMs that you created on Azure portal, right? So now here I'm just going to add one more service. The service name is Azure File Sync, right? File share and file sync both are different to each other. The file sync, you can say that it works just like a mediator between on-premises. This is our on-premises office, like this is our on-premises organization or office that we established, and we have a one file server. This is our on-premises file server. n number of PCs, n number of clients or workstation which is available in our organization. These all are the client computers. Both are connected to each other. Now what you need to do, I'm planning to synchronize our on-premises file server to Azure File Sync with Azure File Sync to Azure File Share. It means that whenever any user want to upload any file or folder, you know that the file and folder which is managed by our local file server. But think about, if any issues occurred with our file server, then we will lose the data, means the loss, entire clients will lose the data. So that's why for the security purpose, I'm just going to create a replica of our file server to Azure File. Means if any problem occurred with this particular file server, if it is down, then we will access the entire data from our Azure File Share. Correct? So this is our agenda, and if we talk about prerequisites, so it's a self-explained, like you need to create one storage account, one Azure File Share, one file synchronization, and on premises you need to install one agent. The agent will provide by our Azure portal. So we just need to download the agent and install in this particular server, and after that, with the help of agent, we will make a communication between on-premises resource to on-premises file share to our Azure portal. What we need to do, we just need to open our Azure portal. Just need to open any browser and portal.azure.com. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open my VMware workstation because I have already installed Server 2012. So it's depend upon you, means if you establish your file server by using Server 2012, 2016, 2019. So the agents are available for both operating systems. So I'm going to install on Server 2012. You can say that we will configure the file server on our Server 2012. Cool. Do one thing, just need to open browser and try to log in first. This is our Azure portal, and in Azure portal what we need to do, select storage. Select storage account. So we have already created multiple storage account which is available in Japanese training 1988 storage. Open it step by step. Let me click on file share. I have already created a file share with capacity of 25 gig. I'm just going to remove it because need to create another file share that we will synchronize with our on-premises server. We successfully removed it. Let me create new file share. Azure File Share, right? Just need to provide any name. It's a case sensitive, so you must need to use small letter. Okay, 1, 2. You must need to use small letter. Done. Create. Our file share is totally blank. We haven't installed or uploaded any data. 5 TB is total capacity. I don't want to use 5 TB. I'm just going to proceed just 15 gig of space, right? So we decided to upload up to 15 gig of space in our Azure file share. It's fully depend upon you. You can make a changes anytime. This is the procedure that we need to use for Azure portal. And meanwhile, what we need to do, we need to create one more service. We need to purchase one more service. The service name is Azure File Sync. The main and important service is Azure File Sync because the Azure File Sync service can help us to make a communication between on-premises to Azure. Open search, type Azure File Sync and create at least one file sync. It will work just like a medium between on-premises to Azure portal. Okay, so actually it's a remote desktop connection, so Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me resolve the issue. This is the panel of Azure File Sync Service. You just need to select the same container, provide the name of your file sync, training file sync, right? And you must need to choose the same location that you use to create our storage account. So we establish our storage account in location of Japan East. So I'm just going to proceed with the same. Next. Yes, I wanted to use for all the network because we want to communicate from on-premises. So you must need to proceed with all network. Review and create. Very basic step that you need to use to create our mediator. Yes, this is the mediator that can help us to make a communication between on-premises resource, on-premises system to Azure storage account, right? And we successfully proceeded. Meanwhile, I'm just going to open our server 2012. This is the server 2012. And what we need to do, we will use it as a file server because we want to synchronize with our Azure storage account. To configure the file sync service, what we need to do, we just need to open my computer, this PC. I have already created one drive with drive letter E. Let me create one folder. Yes, I'm just going to create a one folder and share with full permission. Local share. Okay. The folder name is local share. Right click on our folder, go to the properties, sharing, advanced sharing, file share, permissions, and apply and OK. We successfully shared the folder and we will use the same folder as a network path. And other clients which is available in our organization, they will use this particular path to access as a map drive. Back to the Azure portal. Our file synchronization is ready to use. Open it. And we are able to find one option, synchronize group. Just need to click here. Provide the synchronized name, must be unique. Testing file sync, right? Free trial is our subscription. Select your storage account. So our storage account is training storage. Training 1988 storage. Select your storage account. Also provide the information about your file share because we are making a communication between file share to file sync. Create. That's it. Now you successfully added your file sync with file share, right? Second option. We just need to open and we need to add one more endpoint. This is add cloud endpoint. We successfully added cloud endpoint, but add server endpoint, it's also mandatory to add our server endpoint, which is available on premises. So let me refresh the page because still is in progress. Fine. The one file share is successfully connected because our file share is available over Azure portal and this is server endpoint 0. No server are added. We just need to click here. It will guide you. There are no server available. So what you need to do, you need to register your server. So how we can do that? To register the server, back to the Azure File Sync, select registered server. It will give you Azure File Sync agent. Just need to download the File Sync agent. Download. We establish our file share by using Server 2012 MSI. Yes, Server 2012, 2016, 22, 2019 means all the types of platform are available in our all types of setups are available. So I'm just going to download just a 58 MB of tool. Within second you are able to download this particular tool. And after that we will copy the same tool and install on our server 2012 operating system because we establish our server 2012 our file server using VMware workstation. So you should copy from base machine and transfer to the Azure. So transfer to the VMware workstation. So now we successfully established our storage account first, file sync second, file synchronization third. We are on page of last step. This is the 4 steps. We successfully downloaded Azure Storage Agent. It's a Azure File Sync Agent. I'm just going to copy the folder, file, and paste to the server that we established. This is our Azure File Sync Agent. I'm just going to copy it. Open your VMware workstation and server operating system that you selected for the as a local file share. So I'm just going to paste it and proceed to install. The another important point, you must need to install the file sync. It's a kind of agent, file sync agent, you can say that, to synchronize the particular server, on-premises server, with Azure File Sync Service. So what we need to do, just need to install this particular agent and approve by giving the information about your credential like user ID and password. The another prerequisite, you know that your on-premises server should be connected with internet speed. Okay, restart pending from last update, no problem. Let me restart it. It's mandatory to restart before the installation. So I'm just going to restart our server and after that try to install it again. We successfully restart our server operating system, our file server that we established on-premises. Now it's time to install the Azure File Sync Agent. This is the agent. Just need to proceed and install, and make sure your on-premises should be connected with at least 20 Mbps of internet speed, because it will give us a live replication between both. So it's mandatory, we must need to make a communication. Very basic step that you need to use. Next, and proceed to install. No need to update, just need to proceed. Click next and install. Hardly it will take 3 to 5 minute times to install and sync our on-premises server, and after that we will upload the data in on-premises folder, shared folder, and we will get access of entire data. Means that you uploaded in on-premises, it will be automatically reflect or live reflect over Azure File Share Service. I think some internal network issue, because I'm getting a disconnect from our desktop that we established. We successfully installed File Sync Agent. Just need to click finish. It will redirect you on page, means on the page of communication that help us to communicate with on-premises. No need to do anything. Click OK. Another wizard, we are find another wizard, Azure Cloud, and I'm signing in as a cloud solution provider. You just need to activate it. Provide your tenant ID, right? So it's really important for us. We must need to provide the tenant ID. How we can get it? To know about your tenant ID, what we need to do, back to our Azure portal, right? We just need to open our Azure portal, select Active Directory Services, and in the Active Directory panel, we will find the tenant. This is our tenant ID. Copy it, open our on-premises server and paste the tenant ID. Then proceed for sign in. It will ask you for username and password. We must need to provide username and password. You need to provide your local user ID and password for verification. And now this is the panel where we can provide the user ID and password of our Azure portal. So I'm just going to use my user ID and password. After providing the sign-in information like username and password, it will redirect you on registration page. We must need to select the subscription ID. So I'm just going to select my own subscription that I'm using. Select your resource group, the location of your storage account and file sync service. So I'm just going to provide the information about resource group and file share that I created and click register. The basic step that you need to use for the registration of your on-premises file server. Maybe it will take a few seconds. Once our server is registered successfully over our Azure File Sync Service, we will upload the data on-premises and access the same data from Azure File Share. Now registration succeeded. I'm just going to open our Azure portal. This is our file sync. Refresh the page. We are able to find domain.cloud.com. This is our on-premises server. Open synchronized group, and in the synchronized group we have already discussed one file sync is connected with our file share is connected with file sync. Our responsibility to add server endpoint. So in case of server endpoint, just need to select the registered server, and this is the path. How we can get it? So in case of path, just need to open our on-premises file server, open the drive and file folder that you created, just copy it. This is the path. Back to the Azure portal and paste here. No need to do anything, click create. We are trying to synchronize our on-premises file server to Azure File Share Service. Now it's successfully added provisioning. Maybe it will take 30 to 40 seconds more. And after that, we'll upload the data on-premises and you will get the same data over Azure portal. Now it's connecting again and again. Now fine. What I'm going to do, this is our file share that we created. There are no files are available in our file share, Azure file share. But let me create one folder or file in our on-premises share folder. This is our local system. I'm going to create one folder with any name, it's depend upon you. So let me create one folder and create some files as well. Data and create one file in our folder, test file. This is test file and save it. Back to the Azure portal, right? I'm just going to open our Azure portal, refresh the page. Data folder is available on our Azure file share. It means that we successfully configured the Azure File Sync Service. I hope all of you understand about the concept of Azure File Sync Service. So if you have any question or doubt, please drop a comment. Thank you guys. We'll connect soon with another video, and do subscribe Teach Me Cloud, your own YouTube channel. Take care. Bye-bye.